Yeah, so today's Tuesday, July 1st, and it's the first day of my vacation. I'm off work for the first time in many years for 14 days. And it's Canada Day, and I'm going on a trip overseas end of the week. And so I thought, I might need to make some cash just in case. And so I set up my alarm for 5 o'clock, and about 5:20 in the morning I started Uber and Lyft in Calgary, and Lyft became very busy, started giving me rides, and when I was like 1 minute away from dropping off the passenger, they gave me another ride, and it was like 5, 6, or 7 in a row. And for some reason Uber was much slower, and I stopped for a break around 11:30, but everything slowed down around probably 8 o'clock. So it was like from 5:30 until 8 it was busy, and then it became very, very casual. So time now is 1:24, 24 minutes past 1, and I had 10 rides with Lyft, and I'm sitting at $113. And with Uber I only did 5 rides, and I made $30. So for some reason Lyft was much better today. But Lyft, son of a gun, they have this preferred ride. If you click that button, your rates go down, but you supposedly become busier. And so I was dropping off a guy for Uber, I think, at the airport, at the Calgary International Airport. And as soon as I unloaded him, Lyft gave me a ride. Basically, I was in departures, and I just did a circle and went to arrivals. No, but before that I stopped at the Shell station, because quite often people are confused, and I call them and I say, okay, because it told me, the app told me to go to departures door 4. Okay, so what is this? Lyft is giving me something, 11 kilometers for $11. No, I don't want to go south. It's 11 kilometers south. And so I call them. Now, why I don't want to go south? Because I was there this morning and I got stuck there, way south, almost near the ring road 201, and I just drove back like 20 kilometers empty because there was nothing there. But Uber now shows, oh, it disappeared. It showed that this area was a surcharge area, but now it disappeared. Oh, now it's over here. It's way down, actually south, son of a gun, where this ride was taking. But anyway, good thing that I called them. I called, oh, and the name says Carlos, which is of course a male Hispanic name, right? And a lady answers the phone, and I got confused because there was another voice in the background, like a male voice. And I say, Carlos? And the lady says, yes. And I said, no, you're not Carlos, come on. Like, even I know that Carlos, it's a guy, right? I said, where are you located? I just calling to confirm. This is your Lyft driver. Are you in departures level 2 or arrivals level 1? She's confused. She cannot tell me where they are. And then she says, door 1 arriving. Door 1 I said, arrivals? And she's like, I said, okay, I'm going to arrivals door 1, low level, okay? And I show up there. I see a couple, a Spanish looking couple, standing near door 3, and they're waving at me. And they had a huge suitcase, and I said, you guys said door 1. And they're like, we don't know what we're doing. And then after I dropped them off, 20 kilometers. I drove them for 20 kilometers from the airport to Memorial Drive, pretty much. And when I drop them off, I look how much, I check how much money I made. I made $10. And Lyft shows that this was a priority ride, and they charged the customer either 25 or 27 bucks, and they paid me only 10. So now I'm not doing this priority crap anymore. Yeah, it's sorry, preferred. I think it's called preferred boost or priority or some stuff like that. But basically, you're supposed to make more money. How can you make more money if they pay you 2 times less than usual? So yeah, I canceled that one off. But yeah, something happened with Uber. Uber usually was much busier than Lyft, but today it's just not busy at all. And if I look at the chart, like earnings trend, actually this area now is okay, but everything else is like $1 sign for some reason, because I guess it's a holiday. It should be busier. It shows here it'll be busier. What is this? 1, 2. Oh, Uber gave me something.
Get to your pickup at 937 6th Avenue Southwest.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't want to do Lyft anymore today because I already made $112. So let's cancel Lyft because they don't have a pause button like Uber does. So 700 meters somewhere. Then I'll stop recording once I'm closer. Yeah, I knew that it wanted me to go this way. Because quite often the app is confused. It does not know which way your car is pointed.
Just enter left on 6th Avenue Southwest.
Lots of people in downtown today. I can see like lots of tourists. Okay, this is 7th Avenue. And it's always a big surprise. So where is this next guy or guy going? Can be around the corner 2 kilometers. Oh, today I had a ride. The lady gets in and it says 800 meters. 800 meters. And she was a young lady but overweight. I guess that's why.
On 6th Avenue Southwest.
That's why she didn't wanna walk. Okay, this is one way. One way we can turn on red. Yeah, this is day 2 of my vacation. I forgot to set my alarm. I wanted to set it for 4, and then, I woke up, I see it's already light outside, and I look at the clock and it's like 5:15, 5:20. So I dressed up, washed my face, got me some coffee, and I cleaned up the car a little bit inside because I had a lot of passengers yesterday, right? So yesterday ended up at 150. That's it. My goal was $200, could not make that, so I went home around 2 because it was very slow. And so I made sure that I put my sneakers on because my door is right where my computer table is, and I have like a mat on the floor, so I make sure I put my sneakers on and like I'm ready to run out the door. And I have coffee, I have my phone, I have my keys, and then I start both apps, Lyft and Uber. And yesterday was probably took 10 minutes for the first ride. Today it took maybe 2 minutes. And it's, the different tone. They have different tones when they notify you. And Lyft gave me a ride, and a 30% boost was active. I think maybe it's still active. And so I took a guy from my area, from Redstone Boulevard over there, just a couple of kilometers away from my home in Skyview Ranch. And I took him west, maybe 8 kilometers, and it paid 13 bucks, because of the boost. Yeah, $13. And so when I was 100 meters away from dropping the guy off, he was going to work. He works for Calgary Transit, but I didn't even know that they have minivans. So he drives like a minivan, And when I was a couple of 100 meters away from the drop-off point, I woke Uber from, I put it on brake. And as we are rolling into the parking lot, Uber gives me a ride, and it says 5 minutes away. Okay, so I drop off this guy, I turn off Lyft, and go pick up a young kid just on the other side of 201 of the ring road. And Uber says my destination is a sushi restaurant. And I joke with the guy, I said, you going for breakfast? Are you craving sushi at 6 in the morning? And he has his, earpiece in his phone. He's on his phone. He says, sorry, what? I said, are we going for sushi? He says, no, I work there. So I took him to the restaurant, sushi restaurant, at 6 in the morning. So 2 people, both going to work so early in the morning, and that's what I see. It's either they're going to work or they're going to the airport. And it's better when my passenger is going to work, because if I take somebody to the airport, actually yesterday my first ride was 3 guys from Toronto, leaving, I'm guessing it's B&B or a friend's house right near my location again, and they were going to the airport at 5 in the morning, maybe 5:20, because my alarm clock I set up for 5, and so I started the apps around 5:20, 5:30, and that was my first ride. And I took him to the airport, so we're there at, let's say, 5:45, 5:50. There's no flights, so it's always a one-way trip. You have to return to area where they have houses, where the people live. Like same here. See, it's not a good. I ended up in a bad spot because actually this is where I usually start after work, because this is close to my work. But all you have here is you have Starbucks, you have McDonald's, you have a bunch of restaurants. But right now only McDonald's and Starbucks are open, And because I don't do DoorDash or Uber Eats, it's like useless. There's no people here, you know. So because see, both of these I picked up in a residential area, right? I picked up where you have houses, townhouses. The first guy in my area, second guy, again another community just north of the ring road. But here it's all businesses. It's too early. Like here it will be busy around 4:35 when people get off work. A couple of times I picked up the same guy. He works in a big building nearby here, and I took him like pretty much downtown. You know, it was a good run. And we were chatting, and he said him and his wife both work, but they only have one car, and so they kind of like alternate. Like today, let's say he's using the car, the wife is using the taxi or Uber, and the other day they switch. Oh, and the same with the first guy. The first guy, the bus driver, mini bus driver, he says they only have one car, and today his son needed a car, and that's when people use Uber. And he's a driver too, and he says, yeah, and I do Uber too, but he says now I'm taking a break for 1 year. He says I have everything um, good to go. I can jump and start doing Uber, but I'm taking a break because he says I have a Hyundai. It already has 300,000 kilometers on it. So he's not doing that. And I said, yeah, I have another job too. I only do it because I need some extra cash, and I only do it nights and weekends. But now I said I'm on vacation, and because it's July, it's the time of Stampede, and it's lots of tourists and vacationing. So yeah, yesterday was busy when I came back to downtown. Well, it's not crazy busy, but at least there was some action. So what do you guys think? Which way? Basically from here, I can either go west. Yeah, that's where the lots of residences are there. Or I can go this way. I can go east. But actually, I'm not that far from all these houses over here. Hey, I'm Jennifer, a recruiter from Randstad. We found your background and resume through several online recruitment platforms and would like to offer you a flexible part-time opportunity. The job is simple: posting ads on platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. There is no set schedule, and we provide free training. You can earn between 200 and 6,000 per day with same-day payouts once the work is completed. If you're interested, please contact us on WhatsApp at this number. Note, you must be at least 21 years old. Between $200 and $6,000 per day. So if you can make that kind of money, what are you doing being a recruiter, right? What, do you make $10,000 a day as a recruiter? To recruit people that will make $6,000 a day, so it's all BS. And it says must be 21, so that means it's some kind of a sex-related ads, you know. Hey, meet single women in your city. Occasionally I get these texts, you know. Oh, we have work for you. Are you available? What kind of work? Oh, it's all online. Some marketing BS. So anyway, so what shall I do? Yeah, see, this is Uber. That my dot over there, you see, it's all almost white, which means that it's very low demand. The best one is Southwest. You see, it's red. Yellow is middle of the road, but my area is not busy at all. And let's see what Lyft says. Lyft says Lyft doesn't have this. They don't have this little map, but there'll be a symbol saying, oh yeah. For example, now it says, if I look over here, it says 4 minutes, but in that area. So basically, supposedly, if I go there, it'll be. Oh, actually, they do have a map. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like looks like this. So you see, it's busy in my area actually. Yeah, I should go there. I should just go on Country Hills, back to my home, Skyview Ranch, because it's red. Yeah, this early in the morning, I know I'm always getting rides from my area because there's lots of uh, rental apartments.
Recording. 2 channels started.
And I don't know if you guys can see what's in the front of me. What's in front of me? It's a Tim Hortons, and that's the answer to where this passenger number 3 was going. So another hardworking individual going at 6:45. I guess his shift starts at 7. And he said he has a car, but he gave it to somebody. I think his father or his mother or something like that. And so he's using Uber. By the way, this is the spot where when I was doing my biking video, fixed gear POV, this is where I came through because there's on the other side of the road there's a trail. So if I was him, I would ride a bike to work. You know, when the weather's good, it's probably, I'm guessing, what, maybe 5-6 kilometers. Takes half an hour. But you have to be on Country Hills Boulevard, which is pretty busy, and the road is very bad. The section near the airport, there's like pothole upon pothole, you know. If you fall into one of those with a bike, you're definitely gonna damage your, rims. And so now I'm again at the bad area, you know. But I'm gonna stay here because there's a bunch of hotels here. Like behind me to my left, there's two large hotels. One of them, that's where I lived almost for a month while I waited for my apartment to be ready when I bought it. And then further down on that airport trail, there's 3 more hotels, or even 4. Yeah, so there's a bunch of hotels. But surprisingly, when I do Uber, well, here's a guy also. Uber Lyft in a Ford Escape, and he has a safety vest on. Safety first. Why, why would you have a safety vest if you're doing Uber? Anyway, yeah, and Lyft was giving me rides that are far, so this time if they give me something from that residential area east of here, I'll take it. So it says here that Lyft has 1 to 5 drivers at the airport, but there's only 3 rides per hour. So that means that if there's 3 drivers there, they say 1 to 5. So let's say there's 3 drivers, it'll be an hour before you get a ride. And again, Lyft is usually cheap, so we're not doing that. So let's check Uber. What's happening at the airport with Uber? Long wait, plus 30 minutes. 16-20 cars. Maximum flights will be at 11 p.m. So lots of flights at after 3 p.m. I think. Yeah, after 3 p.m. it picks up, and there'll be a lot of arriving passengers. But So now it's a waste of time as well. Oh, I think, what is this? Now we are at our last trip. So with Uber paid $8, no tip. So now I'm sitting at $15.90. So basically 16 bucks with Uber, and 13.67 with what?
Head to your pickup on Arrow Crescent.
Pickup at Hyatt Place. Yes. Okay, so we're switching off Lyft. I don't know why Lyft doesn't have a brake button. They should have a brake button like Uber. See, I got lucky. I thought I would have to go back to Skyview Ranch. No.
Turn right on 19th Street Northeast.
But if it's a hotel, there's a 90% chance that they go to the airport, because these hotels are near the airport. Oh, it's that one. Okay, it's on the other side of. It's not these ones. Yeah, I forget about those ones. Like there's
600 meters, turn right on Arrow Drive Northeast.
there's 3 or 4 hotels here on this side of Airport Trail, and then there's a bunch of hotels, and there's also there's a casino over there. And the ones I picked up a lady that worked at casino, and you know they work all the time, like 24/7. I mean they open 24/7. And I picked her up. It was like 4 in the afternoon, I remember. And I wanted to go home. Instead, I picked up that lady. You know, this is pretty close to my place, right?
Turn right on Arrow Drive Northeast.
I picked her up, and she was going very far southwest, like probably 30 kilometers. And I had to return empty, probably like 40, 50 kilometers. See, that's the airport there on the left. So actually, yeah, that's why I like this, even though it's not busy, you know, like northeast. But there's a lot of possibilities here. Lots of hotels, you know, the airport. Um, I like this area. I don't want to. If I sell my apartment, I'm gonna stay here. I'm just gonna find another property. But I need to wait till my price goes up. Right now it's too cheap. Right. So, Hyatt. Hyatt. Is that a fancy hotel?
In 600 meters, turn right on Arrow Crescent Northeast.
Maybe I'll get a tip. If these are Americans, I'm definitely getting a tip. Hyatt Place, yeah, it's that great building over there. Yeah, see, there's a bunch of hotels there, and that's a casino also. There's 3 hotels and a casino.
Turn
Okay.
right on Arrow Crescent Northeast.
Switching
Then
off
turn right.
the camera. And I never would have guessed where this last passenger was going. So it was 2 ladies from the hotel, and the app says Cross-Eyed Mills. Holy moly, at 7 in the morning. If you know anything about Cross-Eyed Mills, the shopping center, it's not open until 9. So it's as bad as the trip to the airport. So I think airport would be better, because at least over there they have like 3 rides per hour according to Lyft. But here, the only good thing about this is that maybe somebody worked the night shift, you know, some cleaners or somebody, and they want to go back. But the chances of picking up somebody here are next to, you know, zero. But there is a, I see a bunch of people standing on the sidewalk, and I remember that there's a bus, like a transit bus. No, not transit, sorry. It's like a intercity bus. One of the stops is here, and then let's say it goes to Edmonton or Red Deer. There's specifically this area where I am, exit entry number 2, which is west side. Oh, and I see the bus on the left there. It's called the Canada bus. Like a beautiful white bus coming. And maybe somebody will get off here and they will want to Uber. But if they're going south, the next stop, I know that bus has a stop in downtown. But I don't know. I see everybody's picking up bags, people leaving their cars. So yeah, it's the intercity bus, the Canada bus. Actually, quite a few times I took people to bus stops like this, and it's different names of these bus companies, or coach rather, right? But they have spots in shopping centers. Like I remember one was either Sunridge shopping center, like in the central Calgary. Also, a lady gets in and she says, I don't know exactly where it stops, but they said, you know, the shopping center. And I took her there, and I see a bunch of people standing with suitcases in the parking lot. And I said, let's just ask somebody. And so I asked him, I said, is this the, what's it called, Flex bus? They said, yeah. So I dropped her over there. And yeah, once I picked up a lady in my area, and I took her here, and she said she was going to Edmonton to surprise her boyfriend. So I don't think it's ever a good idea, you know, to surprise your boyfriend, because maybe you'll find him in the arms of another woman. So I think it's better to give some indication that you're coming so he can clean up his act, you know. But that's what she was doing. So basically, behind every passenger, there can be an interesting story, you know. Like these two ladies, while we were driving, they did not look very happy. I thought maybe they did not like my face or something. Then in the middle of the ride, even though I had air conditioning on, they opened their window. I hate when people do that because that's very noisy. Now, I was driving on airport trail like 80 kilometers an hour, you know, 50 miles an hour. But they just opened it a crack. And the first thing, of course, as an Uber driver, the first thing you think is that, do I smell or something? But I know that I have this. I bought this yesterday. So I know that I smell nice. So I guess they were just getting hot, but my temperature was set at 20.5 C, like normal. So it was not hot in the car, but you never know. And so they looked angry, but then they started talking, and I realized they were angry probably about the fact that they were going to work. So they were talking about some marketing numbers, and so I guess, and they don't know this area, but they say we need entry number 2. So I'm guessing it's maybe it's this new store. I see they removed the sign, so there was some store here, so now it's opening. But probably that's why they were not super happy, because they had to get up so early. Well, now it's already 7:30. And so yeah, that's what happens with these you know, rides. You end up in an area where it's super slow. It's even worse than at the airport. So what do? It's kind of like same as with trucking. You know, when I was a trucker over the road, right? You end up in an area, there's no loads. So there's no loads. So what do? You sit there forever, or you drive somewhere where it's busier. It was always a difficult situation, you know. Or do you take a cheap load? Because let's say you're sitting in an area where there's only cheap loads, so definitely it's better to take a cheap load out of the area where you are, so that you don't have to do a deadhead. And that's it. The bus is leaving. Picked up all the people. Nobody's left. Oh wow, it has the exhaust brake. Yeah, I hear the guy or the girl. I'd love to try driving these buses, you know, because it looks like a nice job. It's clean. You don't have to deal with, you know, cargo securement, you know, like chains, binders. You're wearing a suit. All they do is, I'm not sure if they clean the bus. Like, who's cleaning the bus after the trip? Maybe they have to. Then it's not that clean. But I know I saw them fueling. I saw these buses a couple of times at the petrol pass, where I get diesel for my work Freightliner and pickup truck, and I see these guys. So at least they have to get their hands dirty fueling up the bus, because they're all diesel. But that would be cool, you know. So now he's on his way to probably what, Red Deer, and then after Red Deer probably Edmonton. That's around 5 hours to Edmonton from here, and the weather's good, so that would be a nice trip, you know. But I'm home every night. I like my setup as well. I don't work too hard delivering equipment and machinery, but I make pretty good money now. And today is Tuesday, right? Today is Tuesday. So wheels are in the air on Saturday. Captain Sergey is heading over to the other side of the pond. So from Cross-Iron Mills, I sat there maybe 10-15 minutes, and I needed to use the bathroom, so I just drove home, because my place is only like 7 kilometers south of that Cross-Iron Mills. So I went home, made myself one more coffee, used the bathroom, grabbed some water in this David Diet Coke bottle I had yesterday, and then Lyft offered me something, but it was too cheap, so I declined. And then it gave me a ride from nearby, from my like Redstone area there near me, going to university area. And I didn't take Country Hills because it's too many lights. It was like 22 kilometers. So I went partially on Stony Trail. The guy didn't say anything, so now it became 28 kilometers total. But the ride, the Uber, I know Uber changes the rate when your distance increases. Lyft, they're idiots. So I did 28 kilometers. They still paid me 18 bucks. Oh, by the way, will it show? Oh wait, so that's Uber. Where's my Lyft? Well, I think Uber has something for me. 5 minutes away. Okay. Some kind of a varsity. Okay, which way are we going? North. So I should. Okay, now we're gonna cancel Lyft. Go with Uber. And so north
Recording. 2 channels started.
Started. What? You were not recording? So I don't know. Did you guys catch that? So from Cross-Iron Mills.
Turn right on University Avenue Northwest.
From Cross-Iron Mills, I went empty back home. Got more coffee, water, and then I got a guy from my area coming to university for 18 bucks.
Just ahead, turn right on Shaganappi Trail Northwest.
28 clicks. And then they wonder why Lyft is not as popular with drivers as Uber. Well,
Turn right on Shackanappy Trail Northwest.
so personally, I use Lyft all the time because it's cheaper for me as a customer. So when I have to go somewhere, I use Lyft. The only drawback is that sometimes you have to wait longer because there's not as many Lyft cars, because most people just stick to Uber. Like, I'm talking about drivers. I remember talking to one guy. He says, "Oh, I stay busy with Uber." What, you do both? I said, "Yeah, because when I applied, Uber was taking forever, and so I applied for Lyft, and Lyft was issued, the Lyft license was issued much faster, so I started doing Lyft, which of course is not busy for drivers and less money. But then when Uber license arrived, I decided to keep both, picking up some either Chinese or Vietnamese name. So that's the mall on the left. So it's a very good location. So finally, I ended up in a good location. First off, this is Southwest, which is always great for Uber. And now it's already 9 o'clock. So now we can have some people coming to shop, you know. Whereas before, when I ended up at that Cross-Island Mills, it was still too early. The mall wasn't even open yet. So next, second light, we turn left. Not this one, but the next one. Of course, I'm gonna catch. Maybe not.
600 meters, turn left on Varsity Drive Northwest using the left lane.
Or I got lucky with the light. Okay, where's my light? This one. So there's a lot of student residences in this area. But what I discovered that most of the time students, they don't go far. You know, they're so lazy, and I'm guessing they have a lot of money from their parents, so they just go like 2 kilometers, you know, to Starbucks or something like that. But maybe these are not students, I don't know.
In 300 meters, pick up Wing Chan.
Okay, I gotta stop the video or I'll get into trouble.
Recording. 2 channels started.
So the next passenger, the one I thought was a student, was definitely a student, but it was not a resident. It was a brother cyclist on the side of the road with a flat tire. So young kid, and he has a racing bike, and he showed me the rock. It was like a rock like this with sharp edges, and he's like a real racing bike, you know, with the handlebars like this and super skinny tires, and that's why I don't like him. So he hit a rock, and that's it. His tire went flat, and he says he has a spare tube, but he doesn't have the tools, something like that. And so he called me, right? And I said, you should have called Uber XL. And he says, I think I did. I said, no, this is regular Uber X. But I said, and he says, is there going to be a problem? I said, no, don't worry about this. I said, I'm a cyclist too, and I know that it fits in the back of my Jeep. And so I folded the rear seats, and I put the blanket over so that it doesn't, you know, the dirt doesn't get on the back of the seats. And I said, if you sit in the front, we'll fit your bike in the back. And so he sat in the front. It was pretty cool. We chatted about cycling and biking, and Super cool. And oh, and he gave me a $3 tip. He says, "You saved me. Thank you." So it's pretty cool. It's so far it's been my favorite ride because the guy was nice. It felt good to help him out, and he's a cyclist just like me, cycling enthusiast, and I got a tip. Cool. But his bike was like multi-gear, you know, I don't know, 18 gears, 21 gears, like. And I told him my bike. I said I have two bikes, and one of them was $700. The other one was $2,000. And I thought he would say something that I'm crazy, like you guys on YouTube are saying. He says, well, it's easy to spend up to $15,000 for a good bike. Holy moly. But that's of course something really crazy. Can you believe spending 15 grand on a bike? How much you spend on a car if you spend 15 grand on a bike? So this is probably some super titanium, super light bike with, I don't know, with disc brakes and all kinds of fancy stuff, you know. So anyway, so we're still in the good area. We are at the university, sitting on Campus Drive, and it's only 9 o'clock. I cannot believe this. So far I only did 2 rides with Lyft, $33, and Uber I got 4 trips, $35. So 35 and what is this? What did I say? 33? 33 and 35, so 68, almost $70 from 5:30. Gotta love the summer. And I'm not turning on the priority mode, forget it. I'm just regular mode because it's just too cheap. Or maybe I should turn it on just to keep the momentum going, because I know sooner or later things might slow down. So yeah, $33 with Lyft and 35 with Uber. So I'm near. It's a very good area because I'm near. What is this? Highway 1A. Yeah, Crowchild Trail. And I'm in the west, basically southwest, but I'm just north of Highway 1 or 16 Ave. And I found parking here. It says passenger loading zone. Which is a very good area to, you know, like downtown, they have lots of these where it says maximum 20 minutes. So usually that's all I need to get my next ride. And so what did I say? I had 7 today? No, 6. 4 with Uber, 2 with Lyft. And I don't know what these are. Well, these are residences. So yeah, that's where I drop off that guy with the bike. But yeah, I'm surprised. This Jeep is so useful, you know, like once you pull down the rear seats, there's so much room in there. I remember when I was doing DoorDash and, you know, shop and pay, it was super useful. Because I would pick up, let's say you go to Walmart and where you don't have shop and pay, but somebody ordered a bunch of food, a bunch of food stuff, and you go there, you sit in a particular spot, and a guy comes out with boxes, And it was so great that when there's a lot of boxes, I just fold down the seats. Yeah, people are dropping off passengers. Okay, where is my next passenger? What's going on? I brought my camera with me because once I get to downtown, I need to buy a lens for my London trip. I sold my 35mm lens because was not too happy with that focal distance, so I wanted to get 50. So now I have 20mm, 85, and I need something in the middle, 50. But 50 is 820 bucks, 51.8. Whereas now there's a 40mm f2, $400. And I watched some reviews online, and people are super happy with that lens. It's like a pancake lens, and so I'm gonna grab that one, and that's gonna be the only lens I take for the trip because it's so universal. You know, it's slightly wider than 50, right? So it's perfect for travel photography, street photography, scenery. All right, what do we have? $4.18 to go 1 kilometer empty and then 1.7 kilometers loaded. $4. You missed a ride request. No shit, Sherlock. That's one request I will be happy to miss every time. But I'm still online because I only missed one, right? So as soon as I miss two, they're gonna kick me out. Okay, what's happening with Uber? Where's passengers? Uh-huh, that's why. It was busy 1 hour ago, now it went down. Okay, $11. Oh, going to the airport. Okay.
In 750 meters, turn left on Campus Gate NW.
Alright, so we're gonna put Uber on break. So now it's a good time to go to the airport because it's 9 o'clock. There should be some flights. Let me hook up my cable here so that it charges, and it's gonna give me CarPlay. Okay, where's my Lyft driver? Here we go.
In 86 meters, at the roundabout, take the first exit on Campus Drive NW. Exit the roundabout on Campus Drive NW. At the light, turn right. In 250 meters, take the ramp on the right toward Crowchild Trail South, 1A East.
Crowchild.
In 1.1 kilometers, use the right 3 lane at the light. Make a U-turn.
I missed my turn. That's Crowchild underneath. I thought it was the next light. Son of a gun. Stop stopping the engine. I hate this feature. You know, like when it stops for 2 seconds, they already had to replace the battery once because it really wears out the battery. So we'll just go right at the next light and flip around somewhere there in the bushes. Is there a light? Yeah, there's a light. Okay. Actually, I can go here, but
At the light, make a U-turn. In 250 meters, take the ramp on the left, take a sharp left, then turn right. At the stop sign, turn right. In 250 meters, take the ramp on the left toward Crowchild Trail South, 1A East.
that's a bad mistake. Especially since U-turns are illegal here, right? So if this was any other city, I would flip at the lights, no big deal. So here it's a $165 fine and 2 demerit points. I hope the guy does not cancel, because sometimes people get impatient and they cancel. And he probably can, you know, he's looking at the phone and he can see my car picture moving in a circle, like what the heck is this guy doing? So I'm gonna tell him that I missed the ramp to Crowchild. See, it was the first light after I left that building over there.
In 1.1 kilometers, use the right 3 lanes to stay straight on Av1A south to Crowchild Trail NW.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay more attention to the app.
At the light, stay straight on Av1A south to Crowchild Trail NW.
Alright, we're 1 kilometer away, so 1 minute, so I don't think you'll cancel. And then I have to turn left on 23rd Avenue. Oh, he must be in the parking lot. I know there's a bunch of restaurants there. So probably the guy went to have breakfast with a suitcase. Now he's going to the airport. I don't
Turn left. 24th Street Northwest.
Alright, so somewhere here, left and then a right, so he's somewhere, and there's a shopping plaza there. Oh, look at this guy. Went left on the red. Oh, actually, I'm following. I'm going the same. Oh, there's some kind of a building over there. It's probably a hotel. Yeah, we're next to a stadium, McMahon Stadium.
Recording. 2 channels started.
Yeah, turns out it was not a guy. It was 4 people, 2 guys and 2 girls, Polish, speaking Polish. I can understand some it's like half Ukrainian, half Russian, so it was cool. But one of the guys was like, I don't know, over 2 meters tall, and he gets in the front. And I said, sir, you will be more comfortable in the back there. Maybe one of the girls can get in. He says, no, I'm okay, but it's like a huge guy. He was sitting like this. And he started moving the seat, and I said, well, I have a cable there. Please don't move it too far, because it's a cable for my camera. And he was, but he was okay. And by the way, that was with Lyft. Let's see how much it paid me. $14. $14 for 20 kilometers. Yeah, this is. I think original was what, 10? But I got to the airport. So sitting now at $47 with Lyft and 35 with Uber. So Uber says there's 21 to 25 cars ahead of me, but Lyft says there's 1 to 5 drivers ahead of me. So from here it's always easier to get a ride with Lyft, because you see 25 drivers on Uber, 5 drivers with Lyft, which means that most people don't bother to get the license for Lyft. But I think it's a mistake. It's good to have choices, I mean options, right? Because I can be next with, actually they did offer me something, but it was when I was pulling in. They gave me a regular ride, not the airport waiting lot ride. So, but it was like 5 kilometers away, the pickup, and then 5 kilometers loaded, and it paid like $7. So I just basically now I turned off that preferred driver BS, because it's too cheap. Oh yeah, I need to get to downtown somehow. Well, hopefully from here, usually people go to downtown. Because now there's a lot of tourists and many people prefer to get hotels in central Calgary. Oh, and by the way, these Polish guys and gals, they didn't tell me anything. I see it says airport, so I said, which airline? And they said, oh, we're going to the car rental agency. And so I dropped them off in departures on the left side there. That's where all the car rentals are. No tip. Yeah, today only the biker guy, that the brother I helped out with a flat tire, only he gave me a tip, $3. These 4 people, $14 for 20 kilometers. And that just shows you that you cannot do this full time. Like actually, I really looked forward to this because I never tried Uber. I tried Lyft last year. No, 2 years before, I think. Yeah, when I wasn't working, driving my Freightliner truck. And Lyft, of course, it's not that busy and it's cheaper. But I never tried Uber full time. And so these 4 days, because Tuesday was my first vacation day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I'm flying away Saturday. So these 4 days I'm trying to see what kind of money you can make. And you see, yesterday I only did $150, but I didn't want to, of course, you can make more money at night, but I started at 5:30, and I think they limit you to 12 hours. But today maybe I'll stay longer. I don't know, it's 10 o'clock now. So what did I say? 47 and 35, 47, that's $82. $82 in 4 hours. So yeah, $20 an hour minus gas. Oh, I may get lucky with Uber says, so there's 16-20 cars now with Uber X, 11 to 15 cars with Uber Comfort, because this qualifies as comfort, but only 1 to 5 cars for Uber Pets. And so same as with Lyft. So regular Lyft, 1 to 5 cars. So that's my best bet. I'm gonna either get somebody on Uber with a pet, and usually Uber Pet pays better, or I'll get somebody on Lyft. And the trick is you have to react very fast. Like, yeah, oh yeah, because sometimes they give you what they call it, like a match. So they send out an offer to all the drivers instead of, like, typically it's one driver, but sometimes when they want to save money, they send something to all the drivers, and whoever clicks first gets that ride. And usually they're not the best, but I see people are moving, so it's good. Oh, and on Lyft it says extra comfort. So this qualifies as extra comfort because it's 2023. I think it's either 3 years or more recent. So I'm gonna lose this extra comfort probably in a year.
started.
So yeah, Lyft gave me an offer I could not refuse. 12 bucks for 20 kilometers. But I don't want to sit there for an hour. And the reason I took that ride is because it picks up at the airport and the guy goes downtown. So downtown is definitely a good location. Plus, I can stop and get my lens because my camera store, the camera store where I want to go, it's called V-Stick. V-Stick, or there's another one called Camera Store. They're right downtown. So after I drop off this guy, I can just go and do my business. And there should be better rides. And also, he can give me a tip. You know, if I'm nice to the guy, so tips make a huge difference. So let's say even if he gives me $13, then instead of 12 it becomes 15, which is already more reasonable for a 20-kilometer ride, you know. So pretty much the same spot where I dropped off those Polish guys. They were going to a car rental, and I called the guy. I always call him because people make mistakes. Now look at this guy. A bus, and it says 3.9 meters. Oh wow, he went under. The lights were flashing saying it's over height exit. Man, it tells you exit and he still went under. Crazy. So yeah, I took those, it was a guy and a girl from Israel here for work. He's an electrician. Picked them up in departures and took them downtown here. They were going to some kind of a government building, I'm guessing about the visa or something, but he's here for work. He says
in 200 meters, turn left on 5th Street Southwest.
They'll be living here for 1 or 2, look at this guy, for 1 or 2 years, and he speaks Russian. You know, he was talking to me in Russian, but with an accent, but
at the light, turn left on 5th Street Southwest.
Like his girlfriend didn't speak Russian, and so I switched to English, but I was telling them about bicycling and, you know, where to get food, good food, where to buy a bicycle, what's nice about Calgary.
Use the left 2 lanes to turn slightly left to stay on 5th Street Southwest.
And so now I paused my apps and I'm going to the camera store to get my lens. Oh, and by the way, they gave me a $3 tip, which is really nice. So now instead of 12 bucks, it became 17, because I think there was some kind of a bonus as well from Lyft. So 17 bucks. Well, I have to send a thank you. Yeah, they always give you a link, so it says send a thank you to the passenger, so which is pretty cool. So yeah, now I put in my camera store, and it's like 1 kilometer away. Perfect. So I'm gonna go grab the lens, and then I'm gonna start Uber again. And what's the time now? Time now is 10 to 11. Probably I'll do a couple of more rides, and then I'll do a lunch and continue after. Yeah, these guys are on 11th Avenue. I bought a couple of cameras from them. I bought a couple of lenses. Very nice folks, very friendly. Can always answer your questions. Yeah, today is, I don't know, is it busier than yesterday? I think yesterday I made more money than today by this time. Alright, where is 11 Avenue?
Use the left 2 lanes to turn slightly left to stay on 5th Street Southwest.
Oh, it's after the, yeah, I know. After the bridge, it's 10th Avenue.
In 300 meters, turn right onto 11th Avenue Southwest.
Yeah, and then I need 11 Avenue. Cool. So you see, super nice people. I was trying to be helpful. I said, you guys eat shawarma? They said, of course. I said, hey, we have lots of these restaurants. And they said, cool. And I said, you do bicycling? You like cycling? The guy said, I said, well, this is the best type of activity here in Calgary. So I told them about my bike, you know, so I was trying to be friendly. They asked me, is there a restaurant on top of the TV tower? And I know there is. I said, yeah, there is a restaurant. And I said, that tower looks pretty cool at night because there's a bunch of lights in there and they use very funky colors, you know, like purple and red and green. So I said, that TV tower looks super great when it's dark. Nice for, you know, taking pictures. Yeah, now it's gonna be busy. You see, like these two girls are standing.
Right. Turn right onto 11th Avenue Southwest.
No, they're just walking. But I already see lots of tourists. Lots of tourists. See, like these Israeli guys, guy and girl, and then those Polish guys.
Turn right.
So yeah, it's interesting. I'm telling you, like instead of sitting at home and staring at the walls, you know, why not go on the road, meet some people, and make a couple of bucks? If you're nice to people, they will tip. Yeah, it's somewhere here. I know I have to turn right, and they have a little parking area there. I think it's where the light is. Yeah, over here.
Turn right, then your destination will be on the left.
Yeah, that's the camera store. I wanted to come yesterday, but they were closed. But today they should be open.
Your destination is on the left.
So let's go get ourselves a lens for my trip. And the parking is free. But you gotta be careful with these private parking areas. And the other day I already got a $40 ticket because I did not pay for parking when I went to buy the saddle at MAC, Mountain Equipment Company. Somewhere in this area, you have to pay for parking. You came to a store. Why do we have to pay for parking? Holy moly, no? All right, going in. Well, the crazy Uber marathon continues. Today is day 3 of my vacation, which does not feel like a vacation because I got up at 4 o'clock and took a quick shower and brewed myself some coffee, and 4:25 I started Uber and Lyft and got the first passenger from my area. She was going to transit station. I said, did you miss your bus? She says, yeah. And she did not look very happy. So she took an Uber because she missed the local bus that goes to the transit station. And then from there, passenger number 2 was an Indian guy with no bags from that area near the transit station. What's called Settle something. And he was going to the airport, no bags. And I said, we're going to, yeah, Saddle Brook, I think it's called, where the transit station is. I said, are we going to departures? He says, yeah, but He said he's just meeting somebody. So I dropped him off at the international departures. And of course, it's like 5 in the morning. There's nobody leaving the airport. Everybody's coming in. Actually, it did look busy, but people were busy getting out of cars. Like everybody's arriving, and Uber says head to the waiting lot. Yeah, right. I'm not going there because there's no flights. And so I drove back from the airport pretty much to my apartment. Wanted to go in and maybe make myself another coffee. And right as I'm approaching my building, Uber gives me a ride. A nice long one. Not exactly long, but like 13 kilometers. So a lady from my area again was going to work to a coffee shop. And this is where I'm sitting right now, this big empty shopping plaza. There's a big TNT supermarket to my right, but right now everything is closed. So the only place that's open is there's a 7-Eleven across the street, and there's this Tim Hortons, and I see another taxi guy associated sitting here. Probably also brought somebody to the coffee shop. And what do we do? But there's a lot of houses around. You know, this area. There's a hotel over here. Once I picked up somebody, I think it's called Best Western over there. But it's all residential around here. So I don't want to go. It's too flat to go back to my home. Oh, and the guy that I took to the airport, he says, they charge me $15. How much you're getting, if you don't mind me asking? And I had the preferred driver on. You know, like with Lyft, they have this scam, right? Oh, sorry, it's called priority mode. So right now, I turn it off after I talked to that guy, because I had this priority mode turned on, and what happens is that they cut your rate, but allegedly you're getting more rides. But Lyft is not busy anyway. This is not Houston, Texas, or Chicago, Illinois, right? This is Calgary, Canada. Lyft is not busy. And so when you click that button, turn on, what happens is that they cut your rate. And so this guy says they charged him $15 from near the transit station to the airport, and I can see that I'm getting like $6.50, which is ridiculous. You know, like Uber takes 25% cut, but Lyft is just became, you know, brazen. And as soon as he told me that, I did not realize that they were taking so much money. So I turned it off. Fuck it. I don't want to do priority mode anymore. And so yeah, right now I have Lyft. Oh, and so he gave me $5 tip. When I drop off this lady with Uber for the coffee shop, I started Lyft again, and I see instead of 650, my earnings show 1150. What's going on? I click there and it says, "Good job. The customer tipped you $5. Say send thank you." So I click that, so it sends him thank you from the driver. So both Lyft and Uber, they have this thank you, which I think is really good. So it promotes tips, helps people see the value. Otherwise, if you don't say anything, right, so they might feel like they just wasted $5, you know. But yeah, and I look at the chart, earnings trend, it's very low. I don't know what the heck is going on. It's July, you know, it's stampede time, it's vacation time. Like I'm on vacation, right? Why is so little demand for Uber, you know? Like this area north of Calgary is dead. Where everything is happening is south and downtown. Yeah, see? this yellow area. Yellow means busy. I'm here north. That's downtown and south. But I don't want to drive empty 20 kilometers, you know. And the border between northeast, like that's the airport. So the border, where you see the color changes, that's already downtown. It's considered central Calgary, downtown. The border is on McKnight Boulevard. McKnight. So actually, it's not that far. Okay, let's see. How far is McKnight? But you know, usually I don't do this, driving somewhere. But I might just start moving, because I mentioned this before. If you're sitting on your ass, Uber especially will not give you, rarely will give you anything unless you start moving. Like you start moving, even around the parking lot, there's a higher chance that you will get a ride. But let's see. So where's McKnight over here? Hangar, Flight Museum. Oh, lift. Okay, 9:15. Okay, cool. And it's going south. So you're picking up somebody here in the residential area.
Head south towards South Road Northeast. Head south towards South Road Northeast.
Okay, so now we're putting Uber on pause. So I just hit that little coffee mug picture. And now we're doing Lyft. All right. And Lyft, you see, like this is so much better. Lyft shows you origin, destination, how many kilometers to the customer, and then how many kilometers to the drop-off point, and it tells you how much you're gonna make. So $9 for loaded is what, like 7 kilometers? Okay, hold on. Which way are we going? I have to go on Beddington Trail. Beddington Trail. Yeah, here
Head
this.
south towards South Road Northeast.
Okay, I have to go this way. Because yeah, it's tricky, you know, getting out of shopping area. You have to know, because over there's a divider. I need to turn left, but I can't. So, but here I can turn left.
Head south towards South Road Northeast. Head south towards South Road Northeast. Head south towards South Road Northeast.
Well, you just said that. Like sometimes Lyft get, you know, it's like it's getting stuck.
Head east toward Aurora Park Drive.
Especially.
Turn right onto Aurora Park Drive, then turn right onto South Road Northeast.
Well, I think there's a light there, right? Is there a light there? Oh, okay.
Turn right onto South Road Northeast. In 400 meters, turn left onto Harvest Hills Boulevard North-South.
I don't think there's a light, but you can. But there's no. Oh, there is a light. Okay, cool. So I can turn left.
Turn left onto Harvest Hills Boulevard North-South.
So yeah, I always take a ride, even if it's cheap ride, but if it takes me to a better area. And right now the action is in the south, and this ride takes me closer to like 16th Avenue and stuff like that, you know. And time now is 6 o'clock, so imagine, so I started at 4:30 or 4:25, so 90 minutes. What did I make? $6 and 11, 17,
In 400 meters,
12,
slide right onto the Bennington Trail West ramp.
probably $30, which is not good. Oh, and yesterday I bought gas. I spent $60 to fill up because I was already empty. So I'm telling you, this is
Bennington Trail West ramp.
This business is for retirees and for kids. You know, let's say you have some rich parents,
In 400 meters, merge onto Bennington Trail Northwest.
and so they buy you a junker, you know, like a junk car, and say, okay, son, go learn how money is made in this world. But yeah, I cannot believe Lyft, you know, charging the customer $15, paying the driver $6.
Trail Northwest, then use the left lane to turn left onto Berkshire Boulevard.
So yeah, no
Northwest.
more preferred, no, sorry, priority mode. Okay, is this one?
At the light, use the left lane to turn left onto Berkshire Boulevard Northwest.
Oh wow, this is a really long,
In 600 meters, turn left onto Bennington Boulevard Northwest.
really long green arrow. So 6 o'clock, what do you guys think? I think this person is going to, she's going to work, either a coffee shop or a restaurant, or she's a cook.